Welcome, everyone. We'll be starting right at the top of the hour. In the meantime, enjoy the music. Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's a gorgeous day out, so I've been outside today. It's just absolutely beautiful. Welcome to springtime. Unless you're in Australia, then it's going the other way. But anyway, welcome. Glad you're here today. Okay, got a lot going on here. We'll try to keep it all together as best we can. First of all, I want to say that Meg will not be with us today. As many of you know, I had to move this up. My travel schedule is getting kind of crazy, and I had to move this up a week. And because of that, she was not able to respond. So anyway, she won't be with us, but we'll be back next month. So if you're looking for Meg, you can find her at megadamsonhypnotherapy.com. If I've got that wrong, I'm just trying to remember that, but I will show you a slide at the end of the show too as well. But welcome, we got a lot going on here today. It's been a crazy, crazy day. I can't wait to tell you what the group's going to be working with today. They just dropped some new things in, so we'll bring those channels in. I'll do the first channel right off the bat in just a few minutes, and then I will wrap up the whole thing with the channel as well. So welcome. Glad you're here, Lightworkers. It's a beautiful day to be here and a beautiful time. We do have Juliana with us. We do have Sandy Sedgebear, and of course we got Allison, our wonderful Allison, with us as well. So welcome today, and hope you're all having as wonderful of a day as I am. It's just absolutely incredible. I'll bring this down just a little bit. So today I want to bring a couple things. Number one, the new issue of Sedona Journal of Emergence is out. This is absolutely a beautiful magazine if you have not seen it. It is absolutely filled with channels. It is international. It goes all over the place. I have been in here, the group and I have been in here for 20 years. So we're very honored to be doing that. They have a lot of wonderful stuff. And one of my buddies here, who happens to be a person who's taken some courses from us in the beginning and kind of on the inside family, if you will, is Caroline Gervais. And I wanted to share that with you because she puts a regular monthly, well, so does Carlos Rubio, and his book's going to be reviewed here as soon as I get a copy of it. His book is just, and I don't review the books. Let me get clear about that. Sandy reviews books, but I want to show you a brand new one that she just wrote. Carolyn just wrote this absolutely beautiful book. Let's see if I've got her website up here that I can show you as well. I'm sure I do somewhere here. There it is. So anyway, Carolyn just finished this book and put it out, and it's called Awakening from the Illusions of Light. But Carolyn has a beautiful website. Some of you may know her, especially those of you who have been with us a long time. She's been with several of our seminars early on. I think she was even at the teacher seminar that we did. We only did one of them, but she's got some incredible energy here and some great information. And you can find it here at awakeningyou.com. I will show you that again at the, well, let's see if I've got that queued up. I think I've got that queued up. I do. Here, we'll bring it over here just so you can make sure you get it right. awakeningyou.com. And that is Caroline Gervais. Wonderful book. There's a forward in here from Barbara and myself. That because she's like I said, she's been with us a very long time. So I'll put a quick plug in for Carolyn's new book. Awesome. I don't get to read books. The group does not let me read other channeled material. So I can't do it, but what I do is I ask them to kind of give me an overview of the book if I'm doing a forward or a cover blurb or something of that nature. And I've been doing a lot lately, so I'm going to try and bring those up one at a time to be able to show you when the books are published and kind of refer that to you. But you can find her information there at awakeningyou.com. Sedona Journal is Sedona Journal of Emergence. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Come take a look when you can. It's absolutely worth reading. Beautiful. You're going to find a wide variety of channels in there, which is really what Melanie has been doing for many, many years. And it's just an absolutely beautiful magazine. So if you haven't seen it, you might want to check that out. So that's one of the fun things that I wanted to bring you here today. Okay, what else do we have? Well, we got some, we do have some good news. I'll take you back to that. We do have some good news for the new game for the planet Earth. I'll try to bring you these whenever I can to bring you the energies of them and kind of share some of the fun things. Last night, we had an X-class solar flare hit the surface of the planet. This was there was one on an M-class and then another X-class right after that. You can read all about it here at spaceweather.com. I subscribe to this channel and I watch it. I get notifications. But we had huge auroras almost many places in the northern parts of the planet, or excuse me, of the United States. I don't know about Europe, but we had them as far south as Missouri. So wonderful stuff there, but this was all about some incredible things that you can see and some of the beautiful auroras that we had. And what this is basically the magnetic waves that are sent off from the coronal mass ejections that happen. When they hit our ionosphere, they light up, and that's what creates the aurora borealis up that you would typically see in the northern parts of Alaska. But now you're seeing it all over the place. When we have an X-class solar flare, we see this energy hit the planet. You're going to see people that are going to take this, that are going to, newspapers that are sensational, television stations that are sensationalist television stations, and we've got so many of them now it's ridiculous. But they're going to tell you, oh, watch your equipment, be careful. You know, solar flare is going to hit the planet. It's going to wipe out all your equipment. Just relax, okay? Enjoy the aurora. We'll tell you, are there dangers to this? Yes, there are, but it's very, very minor. And the power companies and many of the internet companies, the internet providers, know about this, and they've been working with it for years to try and ground this energy to where it doesn't affect us in the ways that it typically could. So relax a little bit. That shouldn't be a problem. You'll be able to find where you're going with that pretty clearly. We also have Zoom going. Don't know if you guys can see us that are waiting in Zoom. I don't think you can. So most of the time what we're going to have to be, well, again, we're getting familiar with it, but most of the time what you might want to do is get both of them going at the same time. If you do, you're going to have to mute one because our broadcast is going out at a certain rate and Zoom is, one of them is behind the other. I can't remember which one it is. But I will be doing a few 2-minute readings. So if you want to make your place in there in Zoom, I will try to do as many as I can. We're only going to do it for 20 minutes because it does get a little repetition after that. I do private sessions. We don't have any on the calendar at this moment because I'm leaving the country. I will be in Belgium doing 2 days of in-person sessions. There's still a few available if you're interested in doing an in-person session in the western part of Belgium. I got to get my brain on here. In Aarschot, which is about 15 minutes east of Leuven, which is the city we did a seminar in most recently. Speaking of, anyway, if you're interested in that, contact host@aspavo.org and have her reserve a space for you, and we'll figure that out here coming up pretty quick. So welcome to summer, everybody. I'm also wearing casual clothes for a change too. Take just a moment. Here's to you. Peppermint tea, working really well. One other thing that I want to mention, I don't have anything to back this up and tell you about it yet, except that I've just signed the contract. And we're going to be doing our first in-person seminar in the United States here in Las Vegas for the first time in several years. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's been 3 years, maybe 4 years since we've done one. And it's off in the distance, so you got plenty of time to look at it. We don't have any information up about it yet. The staff doesn't even know about this, but mark your calendar for August 26th, 27th, and 28th. We will be doing it in a very special hotel. There you can reserve a room with quite a discount actually at the Four Queens Hotel. Again, we're going to put all this up because we're reserving rooms under our name so that you'll get a discount. And there's also going to be probably only three or four rooms available at the Apache Hotel, which is in the Binions. Binions is haunted. it's pretty well known. So if you want to stay in a haunted room while you're here at the hotel, there will be 3 or 4 of those rooms available. We're only going to reserve a few because we know most people want to get their rest and most of the time there's not action, there's not activity. And that's what the staff calls it, by the way. The staff calls it activity. So most of the time there's not. It'd be very rare if we actually see something or if anybody staying there actually has an incident, but of course we'd love to hear about it if you do. But it is fairly well known for being haunted. They have not remodeled the place, partly because of that. It has a very mystique of being one of the oldest hotels in Las Vegas. The casino is called Binions, and if you want to look it up, and the hotel that you'll be staying at, which is all part of the same building and part of the same ownership, is called the Apache Hotel. We'll be reserving some rooms there. We're doing the seminar in Binions. So we're welcoming that. It's a really large room. We're looking at spreading out, having lots of room to be able to do interactions and exercises and so forth. So mark your calendars. I will tell you more about it when the group tells me what we're going to be doing. It is going to be a lightworker training. It will be 3 days. It'll be something we've never done before. That I promise you. So mark your calendars again, August 26th, 27th, and 28th. And I'll tell you more about it hopefully next month, and we'll be talking about it every month since. Yesterday, we did in the EES and also in Lightmaster, because Lightmaster gets all of it, and not only do they get their special three separate events, just for Lightmasters, but they also get all the EES, the Espavo Empowerment Series. Yesterday in the Empowerment Series, we continued with the human lessons for the spirit. First of all, we talked about the bodysuit. Then we talked about relationships, which is one of my favorite seminars. And now we're talking about my favorite seminar, sex. What is sex in the 5th dimension? What is it going to look like? You can see how things are changing on the planet right now. It's spreading out in all sorts of different ways. It's a very unique energy. We did the first day of that, and it's available for purchase if you're not a Lightmaster, or if you haven't purchased the monthly EES segment. You can buy just that one and go into it. So check out the store at espavo.org, and you'll see that there. To me, it was one of the most incredible seminars we have. We'll be doing the next week of it this coming Friday. So that'll be coming up next week, and we'll be doing the conclusion to it. And it's got an activation at the end that I was just so excited about. It's a magical thing for me. At least I really enjoyed presenting it with the group. And what it is it's a group's view of what we're doing and how we've misused sex, where it's going, what the spiritual aspects of it are. Whether you're having sex or not having sex doesn't make any difference. It's part of humanity and a part of daily experience. And we talk about sexual energy. We talk about a lot of things. I was very excited about that, and we had a very good turnout for it. So come take a look at that if you haven't. Very special. So today we're going to step into this. I'm going to bring the group right in, and we'll do a very quick healing circle, as well as being able to hear a message from the group, because there's a lot going on here, particularly the second channel that the group wants to tell us about. So I will say that there's a lot happening with that. I'm going to bring this over here. And then toward the end, we will do our work with the on Zoom to be able to do some private sessions and to be able to do some of those things. Okay? Good. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Masters of the Light. We're so glad you're here with us today. All right, let's see. Kind of stuck on that one. It's not advancing the way it should. So we're being tested today. Just before we went live, my main computer went down. I had to reboot everything. And then Nick in Greece tells us that the server went down. Didn't go down for us, but it went down in certain parts of the world. So if you were having trouble, just know that we're just walking past all the challenges of it. It's not a huge deal if we don't make it a huge deal. But welcome. Glad you made it. Espavo, everybody. I'll be right back. He did not turn on his microphone. Greetings, dear ones. I am the Keeper of Time. I welcome you this day, for you are holding a very sacred space on planet Earth. We tell you, you have reserved your space for a very long time, and here you are, stepping forward as a light worker in this energy. Very well done. We know it's difficult. We know that with all that's going on, including the Earth herself, that it's somewhat of a disconnection for many, and we hope to be addressing that very soon. But we also tell you that you can make a big difference, even with your triad that we've asked you to form. It's a huge piece of what you'll be working with going forward, and it gives you a stability that can only be received in that way. So keep that moving. Tap in often, and know that you are never alone on this planet. The magic you hold, the magic you seek, is the magic deep within you. It's the magic of your spirit emerging even more than you thought. For as people walk and continue to evolve on planet Earth, what takes place is fairly simple. Your spirit is emerging more in every step that you take. And as such, things change. Things are different. You're seeing a whole generation of beings come in that we talked about last time. A new energy on planet Earth. Very magical, and yet different. Those adjustments can cause challenges in many ways. We ask you to be patient with yourselves and especially with those around you. For that harmony can only be created by yourselves in this very beautiful way. So take a breath, dear ones. And join me for just a moment as we all hold hands around the grand circle of light. Feel people taking your hands even if there's no one in the room with you, for that is the magic that you have created this day. Take a breath. And put all of your thoughts of the day on hold for just a moment. And feel the energy coming in, this time through your left hand, and out your right. And as it travels in a circle all around the planet, and all these beautiful beings holding hands, it also passes through your heart. Your heart is the one that flavors that energy. Each one of you flavoring the energy just so slightly so that you feel the commonalities between all. You're not so different, dear ones. Yes, we know you have divided yourselves quite a lot on planet Earth. Much of this has to do with your technologies. Or you're not looking so much in people's eyes as you're looking at screens, even this one. So we ask you this time to step out. When you see people and you can connect with them through your eyes, look deep into their being. Allow yourself to see their spirit and allow your spirit to be seen. That will dissolve much of the differences, even if for just a moment, for that is all that's needed. And look for the ways that you are alike instead of focusing on the ways that you are different. For that commonality will build a new planet, a new energy, You're stepping up. The Earth herself is making rapid adjustments. You've seen a lot of this in the way of weather changes. You've seen a lot of this in the way of the redistribution of water on your planet. That has helped to find a new balance, to find a new energy, to start something new. And now, as we've mentioned before, the core of the planet has stopped spinning. Maybe even start spinning in an opposite direction. And yet, you all feel this as change. Humans resist change naturally. You like the status quo. You like the comfort of not having to shift your energy or find new things. And yet, you all want to evolve to the next level. Well, that is happening, dear ones. That is taking place this very day. So connect with everyone that you can connect with. Know that you are absolutely magical beings. And know that you're in the right place at the right time. Yes, some of you are feeling lost. Some of you are feeling illnesses. Some of you are feeling challenges. And we tell you, all of it is in order. Take small steps, dear ones. Move in the direction of your passion. And you'll see things starting to open. One piece at a time. Now close your eyes for just a moment as you reach out into this energy again and feel that light as it travels through every part of you. Feel the energy going in all around the planet in very magical ways, going through your heart and flavoring, and not only flavoring the energy as it moves through, but also feeling the other flavors, feeling all the energy of each and every one of you. Finding that beautiful harmony. Great. Now, while you're creating this massive circle of light, we ask those of you who wish to, those of you who wish healing in some form or another, that are ready to release that which ails you, to step forward into the circle of light. Just take one step forward. You'll feel the energy change, and you may feel some emotions surfacing. That is as it should be. And those of you who are on the outside holding hands and circling this energy, open your hearts. Open them as wide as you can with all the incredible unconditional love that you can bring forth, and beam it right from your heart chakra into that circle. Bring it forward and allow them to feel your love. That connection makes a huge difference with everyone. Take a breath and breathe it out. As you release that, feel your own vagus nerve starting to grow. Feel that energy starting to change. Feel the light coming into your being and your physical body as well. You are master healers, all of you. You've put yourselves here at very critical times. And yes, many of you are incredible empaths. You've brought that sensitivity and that energy of empathic abilities so that you could do your work. And yet, many times it backfeeds in you. When you place your hands on someone to take away their pain, sometimes the pain goes into your hands. That is a lack of grounding. And we'll be working with that going forward quite a bit. But today, give that energy up, whether you're on the inside of the earth circle or on the outside. Let it flow through you into the ground itself. The earth will pick that energy up and transmute it for you. She will change it into positive energy, into oxygen that you can breathe, into water that you can lubricate with, that you can feed yourselves and your plants and your animals. Know that you're here at the right place at the right time. So those of you in the center, step back out into the circle now and take the hands of everyone else. and seal your healing by allowing that energy to flow through you again, bringing it in through the left hand and out through the right hand, circling through your heart of hearts. Well done, dear ones. Well done. And with that, release your hands. Shake your hands to clear the energy. Open your eyes slowly. Come back into the room, into your physical body, knowing that you have found a center that will allow you to step forward now with the unity of all the light workers here, all over the globe. Well done, dear ones. Well done. And now we leave you for a time. Merlia will be coming in later to bring you a beautiful message coming up with some changes that are taking place here in your favor. It will get a little easier. Keep in mind that this portal is open. And this portal represents change, which is why all of this is happening right now. And your space has been reserved. You have the ticket that gets you into all of it. Well done, dear ones. Well done. It is with the greatest of honor that I ask you to treat each other with the highest of respect. Nurture one another every chance you get. And play well together. I am the keeper of time. And I love you dearly. Espavo.
Hello once again. I'm going to title this segment, How Prayers Are Answered. I'm Juliana Raymond. Early during my writing career, I wrote a cartoon illustrated work titled God's Toolbox, How God Answers Prayers. The work is an elementary introduction written so individuals could start to understand that first, the universe really does hear all supplications. Secondly, to affirm the universe does its best to provide you with answers. And thirdly, to give you some idea on how to anticipate a response. If you'd like a copy, send me an email, julianaraymond@gmail.com, with your request, and I will forward a digital copy to you. Actually, the universe is kind of persistent in delivering messages, even if you're not always paying attention to the response. So I'm going to take you on a little journey to explore how you might be receiving answers. A few guidelines before we begin. While it might be difficult to provide a definition for God, let me just state that God is not a he, a she, or it, but an is. What most individuals identify with as God is an all-knowing, all-encompassing, all-loving, and all-light conscious energy. God is not a one thing, it's an all thing. It doesn't matter what name you assign to it, it is still an omnipresent consciousness. You are not separate from a divine consciousness, but inclusive within the heart of God's light. When soliciting guidance, you can reach out to loved ones in spirit, angelic resources, an oversoul watcher. This is a guardian who has been assigned to you since birth. Any assortment of guides and guardians whose task it is to help you through your life. Or you can solicit expertise from any life traveler, now in spirit, who mastered a similar pursuit of your interest, who might be able to accelerate some endeavor you're seeking. No request is too insignificant. I have clients who tell me they can't ask God for something insignificant. Nonsense. My immediate response is that nothing is too insignificant. There is no limitation on the number of requests you are entitled to receive. The universe is infinite. That means there are an unlimited amount of requests at your beckoning. How do you receive a response to your prayer? As I said earlier, the universe is persistent. If you didn't receive the first response, those charged with providing a response will continue to present you with messages and with messengers. Say you're pondering a decision and want a "what should I do" response. At times, I've asked for a specific presentation of an item. For me, it's usually a feather, but I've also asked for a random, unexpected find that would indicate the universe was listening. Okay, I can be a doubting Thomas when my insecurities surface, and I need a recheck. The universe understands insecurities. But if you're looking for a yes or no response, the presentation of a specific object can be reassuring. I might set up my solicitation something like this. Should I sell my house? If the answer is yes, provide me with a feather. If no feather is provided, then my answer is no. And yes, your response could be this simple. Say you need a little emotional support, and your solicitation is a plain, I need help. The universe is so intelligent. It knows how you might respond best to messages and is going to send you with an irrefutable response. Say your melancholy mood is due to the loss of a loved one, and you're looking for reassurance from beyond that your loved one transitioned peacefully. Or perhaps you're just wondering if they are still around you. You might hear a familiar spontaneous musical melody that plays over the airways, or you might continue to hear the lyrics of a familiar tune playing in your mind. Do pay attention to the lyrics. You could also find yourself spontaneously humming a musical rendition, all reassuring you that your loved ones are close by and know everything that's going on in your life. They attend every important function, know your fears, attempt to dry your tears, know your desires and goals, and want what's in your highest good, always. Let's look at the variation of prayer requests. There's the come quick, I need help kind of prayer. There's the I need your assistance at your earliest convenience kind of prayer. There's the I'm lonely and I could use a little reassurance kind of prayer. And then there's the repetitive to-do list kind of prayer that says to the universe, you know, when you get around to it kind of a deal. The intention behind the prayer and the amount of emotion emitted during solicitation dictates the promptness of the response. And while the universe hears all supplications, it usually likes an invitation to participate. If you're wondering how to address an omnipresent energy, here's the simple response. It doesn't matter. No formal preface is necessary. It doesn't matter if you start your solicitation with Dear God or Yo God. It doesn't matter if you're in your PJs, in a house of worship, in the shower, or on a hike. And also, let's be clear, it doesn't matter if you support a particular religious fundamental or not. No status, no culture, no religion, and no one individual gets more attention than another. All are equal in the eyes of God. So what happens once a solicitation is sent? Whether you believe you have a personal relationship with a spiritual guardian or not, you do. Say you have an urgent need and you send out that help now request. Your guide sounds the alarm call and instantly a team of support surrounds you. On a more general supplication, your primary guide receives your solicitation, sends out an inquiry to an individual capable of accommodating your request. This team sends a reply back to your main guide, and this guide now designs inventive ways to deliver a universal response. Got it? What might a prayer response look like? Say you need that reassurance from a loved one in spirit that they're not really gone after all. How often have you been drawn to look at that picture in remembrance of them? This is a spirit wink. Both of my parents have passed. I know my mom is around me when I smell a specific perfume. When my dad wants to get my attention, the lights flicker on and off. He was a trickster in life, so it stands to reason he would find the least subtle method of contact. I always tell folks that Spirit sees 360. On my very best day, I might see 180. The reference is a reminder it is always wiser to defer to Spirit guidance than taking that bold, stubborn approach and jumping in before listening to your intuition. How often have you been late for an appointment and you've misplaced your keys? In my case, my playful guardians have been known to make my garage door randomly go up and down when I'm trying to leave the house. That brief interlude could have been those precious moments that prevented you from being in the crossfire of a major incident such as 911, an accident on the highway, or a major weather event. Messages from God can be received in a myriad of ways. Messages come from dreams. Pay attention to the repetitive ones. You might meet the stranger who delivers a random but important message that was unsolicited by you. You could be driving along and catch a glimpse of a billboard that has a significant message in reply to your inquiry. Or how about that ad that just popped up on your TV screen? Still not paying attention? Here's the candle on the cake. You receive a message from 3 different resources that seem to provide a direct response to your prayer. This is universe confirmation of the answer you're seeking. And just in case you doubt the power of prayer, here is a powerful example. I was attending a Cryon conference in Sedona the summer of 2014. Steve was to be one of the presenters. Lee Carroll announced that Steve would be unable to attend as his wife was gravely ill and in a coma. Lee indicated that Steve had requested prayers from the audience for whatever outcome was in Barbara's highest good. The audience fell silent. You could hear a pin drop as each participant focused their attention on healing energies. The time of this was at 10:35 a.m. When the audience participants returned home from the conference, they found an email from Steve stating that at exactly 10:35 a.m., the time of the audience solicitation, Barbara opened her eyes. Never, never doubt the power of prayer. For more spirit wisdom, you can tune in to Spotify to listen to Life is a Spiritual Soup podcasts, or you can find a list of recordings on my website, julianaraymond.com. I am available for private consultations. You can schedule an appointment by sending me an email at julianaraymond@gmail.com, and I will respond promptly. Now back to Steve.
Thank you, Juliana. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. That was 2012, by the way, but awesome stuff. And that did happen. That absolutely happened. One other thing I wanted to mention too, because there's a couple things she said in there that I want to comment on. First of all, she talked about you can call God anything. Well, that brings me to a book that I read a long time ago that was really incredible called Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Absolutely incredible book by Judy Blume. Judy Blume is an author who wrote everything from books for teenagers, for actually preteen, all the way up to adults. Incredible author, one of my favorite people on the planet. And her books are being made into a movie right now. So that particular book is being made into a movie. But the other thing I want to mention is my father used to use that same type of situation as to get answers. But he would stand up and close his eyes and say simply, if the answer is yes, I'll lean forward. If the answer is yes, I'll lean backwards. But the funny part about it is he always created his own reality, because if he didn't like the answer, he'd end up going 2 out of 3. So absolutely very normal. We do create our own reality. Thanks, Juliana. We'll be back next week with that process. And you can write her for that free book as well. Now we have Sandy Sedgebear with us.
Hello, welcome to another of Sandy's Bookworms. It's good to see you again. You know, it really can't be easy to step into the same arena as a parent or a sibling who's enjoyed enormous worldwide fame. We're not very good at welcoming people who we think have taken the easy path to success, especially the path of nepotism. And I'll confess that I was certainly guilty of that back in 2015 when I received a pitch to interview Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. about his book, The 5 Levels of Attachment. But once I started reading the book, I knew that I was wrong, very judgmental. The method that Don Miguel Jr. shares in this book is said to have been 20 years in the making. When he began his apprenticeship into his family's Toltec tradition at the age of just 14, his first task was translating his grandmother's talks from Spanish into English. One day, as he struggled to keep up with his grandmother, she asked him, "Are you using knowledge, or is knowledge using you?" Finding the answer to that question would shape the destiny of Don Miguel Jr.'s entire life. Now, I've said it before, we like to think that we are the masters of our thoughts and of our fate. But Don Miguel Jr. says how we think and what we believe about ourselves and our world are actually the result of an unwitting agreement we made to accept a consensus reality that keeps us in bondage, restricts our freedom, and prevents us from knowing and expressing our authentic selves. According to Don Miguel Jr., we have all unwittingly made agreements about how we choose to live our lives and what we believe our truths are. But what we may not realize is that each of these agreements represents an attachment, a limiting filter on who we think we are and what the future could hold for us. We call these attachments, he says, knowledge, without ever once questioning if that knowledge is necessarily true for us. Building on the principles found in his father's famous best-selling book, The 4 Agreements, Don Miguel Jr. explains that there are 5 levels of attachment that cause suffering in all of our lives. These 5 Building on the principles found in his father's famous best-selling book, The 4 Agreements, Don Miguel Jr. explains that there are 5 levels of attachment that cause suffering in all of our lives. These 5 levels are authentic self, preference, identification, internalization, and fanaticism. Interesting word, fanaticism. After describing each level in detail, Don Miguel demonstrates how, as our level of attachment to a belief or an idea increases, who we are becomes directly linked to what we know. Don Miguel Jr. does a really excellent job of explaining what's happening in our world today, where so many of us are operating unconsciously at a level of attachment to beliefs that we rarely question and never truly understand how or why we embrace them in the first place. Using some very cleverly constructed and relatable analogies, he invites us to reflect on how attached we are to our own points of view. He also helps us gain awareness of the agreements that we have been implicitly making all these years, which have shaped our reality and are continuing to influence our future. And in the process, he shows us how to release the attachments that no longer serve us, the ones that do not reflect who we really are. I especially enjoyed and admired that chapter on fanaticism. And here's why. I mean, fanaticism is something that we are being made acutely aware of in today's climate of political, social, and ideological bifurcation. But In choosing to use football as his analogy here in this particular book, he did a very, very brilliant job of making the book relatable to men, particularly those who would not normally read anything remotely connected to the word spiritual. But what I like too is that he also helps women understand why men are so passionate and fanatical about their football teams, which, quite frankly, is something that I've been struggling to understand for years. I'm sure I'm not alone. Don Miguel Jr. shows us in this book how our attachments to beliefs, our own and those of others, manifest as a mask that we don't realise we can take off. And with the help of the Toltec wisdom of his lineage, he demonstrates how we can return to our true, authentic selves, unhindered by judgment and free to pursue our true life's calling. This was the first of Don Miguel Jr.'s books that I read. I've since read all of them, and while I found his other books to be equally thought-provoking, insightful, and definitely filled with simple, irrefutable truths and wisdom that can't help but shift us out of the old patterns and ways of thinking and mindsets, this one, The 5 Levels of Attachment, really does remain my favourite so far. As wisdom keepers go, my personal opinion is that Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. is a man who's not only earned the right to stand alongside his famous father on any platform, but he's also a truly masterful spiritual teacher in his own right. So the book again is The 5 Levels of Attachment, Toltec Wisdom for the Modern World by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. Don't forget that, Junior. And if you haven't read it, you can sample an excerpt if you visit the No BS Spiritual Book Club, because this is one of the first bookworms that I ever published on the website when we founded the book club. And you can probably also look at some videos and audios while you're there as well of Don Miguel talking. The No BS Spiritual Book Club was founded especially for you so that you could find out what kinds of books inspired the speakers, teachers and authors that you trust the most. And quite frankly, some of those books, many of which are great classics, some of which are unknown, hidden gems, all of them, are definitely worth reading if you are pursuing your own journey of discovery and want to expand your spiritual growth and well-being. And I love that these 10 best spiritual books are the ones that actually changed those people's thinking and the work they're doing now. So they're very, very influential. So if you're looking for the best books to support your spiritual development, check out our free 10 Best Spiritual Books library at the No BS Spiritual Book Club. You'll find several other book excerpts in my bookworms section, and you can also add your name to our Save My Space list to get last minute reminders of upcoming episodes of our live streaming video interview series. That's it for the bookworm. Just one more thing before I leave you. Maya Angelou once famously said that there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. Having spent a life with books and authors, I can tell you there's a lot of truth in that. If you feel that you have a book in you, but you don't know how to begin getting it out of your head and into the hands of those who are waiting to read it, visit my website, sedgebear.com. Click on the Work With Me tab and find out how my experience helping others tell their stories might be just what you've been looking for. That's it for this week. That's it for this month. I hope you'll join me again next month for another of my bookworms. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, stay well.
Thank you, Sandy. Awesome stuff. Sandy is a originating member of the we used to be Lightworker, and we used to be the Lightworker Corporation. She was one of the founding members of that, and today she's a board member of the Espavo organization. We're a nonprofit organization. So thank you, Sandy. Awesome stuff. And of course, an extraordinary Lightworker. Okay, we've got one more here for you before we go into this, and bring you Allison, of course, and then we'll bring the final channel from the group here today. But I'm overjoyed to be with you here today. It's a beautiful day outside and inside. How's that? Here's Allison.
Hello everybody, it's time for the astrology part of the show, and my name is Alison Chester Lambert. This virtual light broadcast is actually a good few days earlier than it would normally be, and so it's allowing me to talk about something which happened yesterday, Friday the 19th of May, which normally would get missed because it's nowhere near the month end, and it was an interesting thing, because if I was going back to being a junior astrologer, right, let's say 30 years ago, I would be writing apocalypse now. Get your hard hats, go into your bunkers, do not emerge, the world is about to end, or something like that. Because we had in the sky an enormous, great big grand cross. A grand cross is like really important because you get 4 planets doing a square shape in the sky. And it's quite rare to get these big hitters doing this. And what was interesting about yesterday was the new moon in Taurus was also catching it, and Taurus is an earth sign, and so it sort of like lent it a bit more earthiness and feminine, as in yin. So I've got the chart here, and you might be able to see actually where I've scratched out the cross in the sky, which actually means a square. So we've got Jupiter in holding up one corner at 0 degrees of Taurus, and then opposite that we've got the dwarf planet Haumea, and then to one side we've got Pluto currently right at the beginning of Aquarius, and opposite to Pluto we've got Mars currently right at the beginning, well, right at the very end of Cancer, almost into Leo. Now those planets by themselves, let's just talk about them by themselves. So Jupiter is a fire planet, very expansive, and expands everything and makes it into a big deal. Haumea is a feminine creatrix planet. So she is the feminine that creates planets, planet Earth. And she does so through the red hot lava of the volcano, for instance. So the volcano spews out red hot lava, it solidifies and becomes new land. Well, that makes sense to me. She gave birth to the land. So that's Haumea, and she looks after things like fissures in the Earth's crust, so earthquakes as well as volcanoes and stuff. So that's her doing her thing in there. Pluto is, of course, the life's dynamic generator of endings and beginnings. So Pluto is always driving things into what they must become, a situation of perpetual change and constant movement. And then Mars, across from Pluto, is always like the cosmic adrenaline, the shot of adrenaline. It's just raw energy, adrenaline, testosterone if you want, which infuses a situation for just a couple of days because it moves quite quickly, and bingo, everything explodes and the whole thing goes off, as in events in our lives. So this is what we call a fixed cross because it's in fixed zodiac signs. So normally, as I say, that's it. We've had it. Apocalypse. The end is nigh. However, I'm sensible enough now to know that it's never going to mean that, Alison, and you're going to look like a right ninny on Facebook afterwards when everybody's still there the next day. So this is not the sort of thing you tell people. However, it means something. Now, it's in the fixed cross, and the fixed cross gets its name from the fact that it doesn't move. It's immovable. Those 4 zodiac signs, so Taurus and Scorpio, Leo and Aquarius, are known for their stubbornness. Taurus is known for stubbornness. Everybody thinks it's Taurus that's stubborn. Oh, wow. You get an Aquarian, a stubborn Aquarian, in their cynical or skeptical mood, and you'll get stubborn. Anyway. It doesn't move. So when something like that happens, there is movement, but it's not obvious. It's not, a plane crash or a tsunami. It's something going on underneath the fabric of life, in the underworld, if you like, or on the crust of the sea, where the earth meets the water, in actual fact, at the bottom of the ocean, of course. But so there's something moving. Now, I wanted to start this video by sitting here and going, dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum, fiddle-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum, because aren't you getting the sense of something should be happening and it's not? Something needs to, finally happen. It's like waiting for the storm. And so I looked at that and I thought, will that break it? Apparently not, according to my news this morning anyway. So all right then. So I think it's one that will just stay there and sort of fester for a little while, causing even more tension in terms of waiting for something to happen. But anyway, so that's that. That was the 20th. Talked about that now. Now I'm supposed to be looking at the astrology for June, which I'm certainly going to do. And I've got all my maps here, so I'm going to just read straight off from these maps. It's so much easier, isn't it? Okay, so the first event we've got in June is the full moon, which is in Sagittarius, and the sun then is in Gemini, and that's around 13 degrees of Gemini, and it's on the 4th of June. Now, there's something interesting about the fact that we are now entering Gemini, and Sagittarius, which is the opposite sign, becomes alive too. There is a constant search for information, a constant search for knowledge, a constant search to understand something that comes with this axis. And so I am thinking that this adds to our dilemma of something's happened, something's moving, something's going on, what is it? It almost gives us the research urge, if you see what I mean. Now, this sun on one side and moon on the other is actually squared, so it's a 90-degree angle to the planet Saturn, which offers something. Saturn, as you know, inhibits, holds back, dumbs down. Now, what it's doing in Pisces is Saturn is trying to dumb down or inhibit the amount of spiritual fantasy that we have in the sky. So you know how we kind of like think, oh, cosmos and God and angels and this sort of stuff. Well, everything that's ethereal can't be touched or held or measured. And it's almost like it's trying to make that search very practical. It's trying to remove all of the whimsical stuff and just make it sort of, let's be factual here. You can't say anything unless you can prove it 4 times, as academics do. So yeah, so I'm thinking, okay, well, let's see what that brings in terms of the search. Okay. Pluto is now going back out of Aquarius again, as we know, back into Capricorn. He dipped in for a very short time, and what is absolutely clear and beyond any doubt whatsoever is artificial intelligence is going to be the new subject. Plastic, we're getting hold of, I hope. Well, we are in the UK anyway. But artificial intelligence is something that is going to become a big subject. And actually, it's quite an interesting one as far as I'm concerned. I'm of the opinion that the human race is the biggest interrupter and destroyer of this planet and its normal cycle. I think humans have done more to damage planet Earth than anything else ever did, including meteorites landing. That's just my opinion. What do I know? And I look at artificial intelligence and something tells me, okay, so we're going to have the ability to take over people's jobs, to run companies, to do massive things for commerce, for commercial reasons, without using human beings. Artificial intelligence will do it, AI. Well, you know, in the bigger picture, there is something in me that says, well, that's probably a good thing, because the human race needs to needs to get smaller. We need really good birth control, and we need it now for those countries which are struggling with burgeoning populations, with women with no access to efficient birth control, who actually don't want to have baby number 5 when they can't feed baby number 2. And I think we really need to look at that. And I think bringing AI in is just another nail, if you like, which says, well, we haven't got jobs for all these people. The manual work or mental work or whatever it is being done efficiently by artificial intelligence. And so therefore the need for a huge population is diminishing. I haven't worked this out in a way that starts to sound very spiritual and sweet, but I can look at the astrology and I can see what's emerging and what needs to go as in terms of policies, in terms of what we have done as a human race. It's worth thinking about anyway. It's just my opinion. Right, the 18th of June. Okay, so on the 18th we get the new moon in Gemini, which is something like 26, 27 degrees of Gemini, right on top of the asteroid Juno. And as you know, Juno doesn't like human beings. I'm back to that again. And she hates them because her husband Zeus in Greece was always running off with the human females, and she didn't like them at all. So there is something there again, which is an emergence of information, Gemini, communicated information, Gemini, and something to do with the human race being distasteful. Something about the human race needs correction. We have run amok for too many thousands of years. Well, probably more the last 200 or 300, but anyway. Now, that particular new moon is square to, or there's a 90-degree angle between that and the planet Neptune. Now, the planet Neptune does represent fantasy and spiritual, whimsical beliefs. And so there is an increase at that point of perceptions of spiritual involvement, a fantasy kind of situation which says, don't worry, it'll all be okay. God, angels, whatever your beliefs are, the entities, intelligent, invisible entities, are listening, and they will help. And you don't need to worry. At the end of the day, water conquers all. And okay, so now I'm swinging it the other way. See, now these things are subtle, and I think you'll need to listen out for them. But at a time when you're waiting for an event to happen, that will it happen or not? I'm not going to predict it will. I think it's just as well you've got time to sort of cogitate or think about spiritual involvement and these type of things. Okay, now quickly moving on to 21st of June, which is the summer solstice. I cannot believe that we are here at the summer solstice I can remember the winter solstice, like only 6 months ago, right? I cannot believe we're here and we still haven't got decent weather in the UK. We're still struggling for weather, and we're just about to turn the tide and go in for shorter nights. We haven't even had a summer yet. Okay, why do we have to be in such a rush for these things? Sun moves into 0 degrees Cancer. Interestingly, trine Haumea. So Haumea gets more of a say-so. This is a very important planet at the moment. She's making some very significant aspects to big hitters like Pluto, and that goes on for 3 or 4 years. I think it goes on for another 6 years, actually, something like this. And so the things I'm talking about aren't going to unfold quickly. They're going to take years, 6 years, if you like. But at the end of that 6 years, I'll be able to sit here and confidently tell you what Haumea was doing all that time. Because at the moment, I'm just sort of like fissures in the Earth's crust, mumble, mumble, the occasional volcano, earthquake. We got 62 earthquakes yesterday. We always get 60 something or 70 or 50 earthquakes a day. You know what I mean? So that's nothing. Well, don't know. So in that case, maybe I'll finish the video going, I'm just waiting to see what happens next. Never mind. Anyway, I've really enjoyed talking to you. I've tried to look summary, even though it's not particularly summary. I've tried to look it. Hope you're having a lovely time over there, wherever you are. And don't forget, if you want a reading, get hold of me, Alison Chester Lambert. You just have to Google my name. I love talking to you. That would be such fun if we did. That'd be fantastic. Thank you. And I will see you next month. Bye-bye to Steve, and bye-bye to everybody, and thank you.
You do look summary. Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I know it's difficult, especially for Allison, when I move the VirtualLight Broadcast a week like we did here. It becomes challenging, but it looks like this time it worked out pretty well. And there's no way, my dear, that you could look like a right, would you say right ninny? Not going to happen, ever. So thanks. Thanks so much. Okay. We're going to talk about Zoom for a second because I really messed things up again. I do apologize. I'm getting used to somewhere. I know, I've been saying it for a while. Anyway, we had about 12, 15 people in the Zoom, and I did not let them in time, and they all left. So we only have a couple quick questions that we're going to ask. I will figure this out so that you can ask it live next month, I promise. So anyway, we've got, first one is from Jane. Jane was the first one in the room, and she wanted to know just about a little bit more about her writing, if the group had anything to say about her writing. There's Jane. Let me see if I can bring her in real quick. Again, I don't know how to make it, I do apologize, Jane. I don't know how to make you full screen, but I will bring you in and let you talk. There we go. Hi, Jane.
Hi. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. I'm sorry, I'm still playing with this software here. For some reason, Zoom and I don't get along, but we'll make it. We'll figure it out. Anyway, tell me about your writing. You had a question about the writing. I'll tell you what the group's going to say, but tell me where you're at with it.
So I've got some writing projects going. I've always been a writer since I was small, and I have taught writing, and so it's a big part of my life. And I feel like some sort of change or turning is happening, and I'm not sure what's going on with it. So yeah, so I'm definitely looking for some guidance.
Well, what they're telling me is basically you have new channels coming in. You've been doing this for a long time. Apparently, you are a healer who heals with words. You've been doing it for some time. You're also very much of a teacher. So you lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, you've done this. The reason they call you a teacher is because you've gained what we call transparency. In other words, when people look at you, they read your writings, they come in contact with you. You have this transparency that you've earned over many lifetimes. It's not something you can just work on in one lifetime. But what that means is that people don't see the bodysuit that you're wearing, they see your spirit, and they're able to get right through. Now, what has taken place now is we have so many changes taking place on planet Earth. You have new information coming in. Not that your projects need to be changed or anything else, but it's almost like you're changing the dial a little bit and tuning in a little bit wider, having to do with the new energy that's coming in. But I will tell you, you're right on target. Just keep working with it, keep stepping forward, and you'll start to see a whole lot more of that energy that you'll be able to translate, because that's really what this is. It's really what a channel is. They translate spiritual energy. But keep going. You're right on target with it.
Well, that fits. That your stuff always does. That makes perfect sense.
Oh, good.
So I've been following you for a long time, and it's great to see your face and have this bit of contact. And I think you've got a beard going.
I sure do.
It looks wonderful. It looks wonderful.
I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to keep it short. My girlfriend is going to decide whether I keep it or not. We'll know in a few weeks. But yeah.
Well, great. I think it looks wonderful.
Thank you.
Have good travels, too.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my dear. Awesome work, and keep up the good work. That's incredible. Great, good. Thanks. Okay, and we also had Dolly. Dolly is from, where are you from, Dolly? If you're there, go ahead and unmute. Oh, she's from Colombia, and she says her question is about health issues with my digestive system. Well, I'm going to answer the large question first, since the bigger question about this is you're not alone. There's a lot of people having sudden changes with their digestive system. Not just, digestive system is one of the first areas that this shows up in. And it's not just digestive system, it's changes on the planet which are affecting our physical bodies. So that is one of the things, and this is from the chat room here that she left the messages here. And next month I'll have this all worked out, I promise. I thought I had it worked out, but in all honesty, I didn't. So anyway, and it's funny because I'm very technical, but me and Zoom just seem to keep missing each other. So anyway, we'll figure that out. But the digestive system is one of the areas that we're looking at that are massively changing on planet Earth. It's also one of the best things you can do for Earth is to find out your connection and it's time to purify our diets. It's real simple. We are seeing words more and more. I've mentioned this a lot in Lightmaster, talking about it. We mentioned it in the seminar on sex that just started. We've mentioned it has a lot to do with your reaction and your spirit's ability to use this physical body to increase the light that it's carrying. It's why we're hearing more about plant-based diets everywhere. I have a doctor who's now absolutely recommending only plant-based diets and things of that nature, which I've been doing for a while. So I've been working on that for a while, but it's becoming popular. It used to be that if you were a vegetarian, that you would have to go to a special store to get anything, to be able to get plant-based food. Now it's everywhere. And then for a while, in my grocery stores, there was little sections and so forth for vegetarians and plant-based things of that nature. Now it's everywhere. I can go down the aisles and I can see different things about that. That transition is becoming huge. And I have to say the food is getting better. It's not so much about finding substitutes for things, although cheese is one of those things I've never really found a good substitute for. So I do cheat once in a while. I don't ever deny myself, because that would take away from the pleasure of being a human. And I absolutely eat chocolate. Chocolate is a sentient food, without a doubt. So absolutely. Group said that in book 1, and they've stuck with it the whole time. But we're seeing changes, especially with all that's going on with the planet changing the way she is, the energy shifting in the way that they are. We're seeing a lot of changes that are taking place, and the physical body is reflecting that. And one of the first areas that it reflects it in is diet and digestive systems. Many people are lactose intolerant. And it's kind of funny because we were never supposed to be eating lactose. We were never supposed to be drinking milk. We're the only animal on the planet that drinks another animal's milk. Doesn't. We're also finding out it may not be that good for us. It's full of sugar and everything else. So we are the product of a lot of advertising that has gone on and on and on and on and on. So there's a lot to that we will all discover, but it's time for change. And Dolly, that's what I would absolutely suggest. Take a look around you at things that you can alter. You don't need to make drastic changes to begin with. Make small changes to start with. Give your body time to assimilate it, because that will be really helpful to be able to do. It doesn't happen overnight, so even though you change your diet right away, it's not going to take effect for a little bit. Give yourself time to assimilate that new energy. And I think you'll start seeing changes going on. I'm a believer in doctors. I don't take everything anybody says at full face value. I always check out everything myself, but I do have doctors that I trust and work with. Mine are very metaphysical. In fact, my doctor highly told me she put it in really careful words. She put it very careful words because she wanted to tell me that meditation is really good for me. And then I told her what I did, and she relaxed a bit. But basically, we're starting to see the health benefits of all this stuff on different ways. The other thing is to ask your own guides how you can help and adjust in your diet. That can be huge. And again, try things slowly, give them time to work, see how they're working. But people will be seeing massive digestive changes, because that's one of the first areas that we experience the earth in, is the digestion. We are basically bringing in the sun. It's the sun. We all live off the sun. The plants live off the sun. They store up solar energy, and we eat that energy. But we eat it in different ways. The animals do the same thing. If you eat meat, which most people still do, fish, everything else store up that energy in different ways. So you're seeing a change. You're seeing shifting change in a lot of different ways. The food itself is changing. And we'll also tell you that people are becoming incredibly sensitive to processed foods. It was about 4 years ago that the World Health Organization put all processed meat, all of it, hamburger, steaks, everything else, they put it on the carcinogen list right next to cigarettes and asbestos, in the same category as cigarettes and asbestos. Did we see that? We didn't see it much in the United States. It was ignored in the United States. There's so much money involved in all that we're still battling the whole will of the people versus the money here. So right now the money seems to be winning a bit, but I will say that we can change that. And listen to your body, listen to your guides. You're on a great path. Okay, I'll be back with Merlia in just a minute. I do have a quick video I want to show you about the seminar we just started, and we'll be back with the final channel from the group and Merlia in just a moment. Thanks, everybody. Aspavo. Greetings, dear ones. I am Merlia. I am the feminine energy of the Merlin, the one you know as a magician. But it's much bigger than that. For Merlin was only a single representation. The lived on and on and on. And I am here to help balance this energy by bringing in some of the feminine aspects of Merlin, because it's all magic. And love is love is love. An important aspect to remember in all things, dear ones. Your magic has begun in so many ways, and now it takes another step. As the Keeper of Time said a little earlier, one of the things we're going to ask you to do during this time frame, and it has a lot to do with all the changes, is to strengthen that connection with your triad. Whether you're able to do it in person, whether you're able to do it even sometimes you're not able to get the connection with them, it's not a problem. You can still use this triad of energy as a base for your evolution and as a base for your movement. And that is here now, to be able to use these other 3 or 2 people to be able to bring yourself to another level of stability. Because that is one of the challenges. As the earth continues to move, as humanity continues to evolve, as even the stars around you start to make new alignments, we tell you it's difficult for humans to hang on sometimes and to move through those aspects and to find the balance that they need. Well, now we're going to ask you to do one other thing, to bring in that triad and bring in the energy of those other 2 or 3 people. And as you're focusing on that energy, set forward your passion. Step into one form of your passion. Perhaps it's something you've never done that you've always wanted to do. Perhaps it's something that you know that you're doing and you know that you've been doing it, but maybe not with success. Maybe not getting the success that you wanted from it or able to support yourself in it. And we tell you, dear ones, not everyone's going to make their living in their passion, but the more passion that you can experience in whatever you do, the higher your vibration becomes. The easier your walk and your path on earth becomes. You'll feel that little push of gentle energy at your back, and life will become a little bit easier. So strengthen that energy by forming the triad. You've done that already. And bring those other 2 or 3 people in. It really makes no difference. Bring their energies into you. If you're ever able to sit in the same room with them, that's wonderful. But if not, don't worry about it, because you're doing it energetically anyway. And find that energy balance. And step forward into your passion. Fire up the triad with your passion. And allow them to do the same thing. If you're in contact with your other members of your triad, simply bring them in and try to focus on their passion, what they want, to help support them in some way, the same way that they're going to be supporting you. And what takes place, dear ones, is very magical, because that forms an energetic base for everything that you're moving into right now. Now, we've mentioned about the portal. This portal will be closing. But before it does, you're making a huge imprint of energy of the new world and what that looks like. And that has a balance to it that it's never had before. You're bringing in much more of the feminine energy in all aspects of this. And that is very beautiful and magical. The time is now to bring this in, to work with this, and to know that you are on the right path. Now, step into the passion and experience it just as much as you can. And you'll find your world getting a lot easier as your spirit starts to encase itself much more in your physical body and the bodysuit itself. The bodysuit itself works on automatic because of the ways that you program it. When you have a success, you program the bodysuit to react that way the next time those circumstances work and show up. Program it again. Start programming it consciously, because now is the time to do that. And that allows your spirit to not only go through the bodysuit into the world, but also to anchor into the physical body in new ways. That's what makes your eyes shine. That is the sexual energy that we are talking about. That literally is your life force energy. Sometimes it's called chi, sometimes it's called prana. We call it sexual energy because it brings the life force of your physical body, your bodysuit, and your spirit together as one. Step into it. Allow yourself to express that and find it in others and encourage it in others. One of the most beautiful things that you can do on this planet to be helpful at this time of transition is to find and comment on other people's beauty. It's difficult sometimes, because sometimes if a male walks up to a female at this point and comments on her beauty, he has to do so very carefully, because it can easily be misinterpreted, and yet don't lose the chance to say it. Find ways of using the proper words that don't threaten people, but acknowledge the beauty. Acknowledge that energy in each other, because it's the spirit that you're seeing within. And what you are doing when you do that is you encourage that beauty to come out more. You encourage the spirit's activity in their body. And that's good for everyone. That creates an empowered society that allows things to move in all different ways and experience the most beautiful love in the ways of Atlantis and Lemuria. These times are changing, dear ones, and you have opportunities of rewriting history as you go forward. We'll speak more of that the next time we come together. And we know that many of you are feeling quite disconnected in different ways. We will be addressing that as well, to work with that energy so that you know what is taking place and how that is working. But we also tell you, dear ones, you are magical beings, each and every one of you. Tap into that magic. Tap into the magic of Merlin that you hold, and watch as the world around you starts to align in a new way. So with the greatest of honor, I ask you to treat each other with respect of the highest nature. Nurture one another at every opportunity and play well together as you create this brand new game on planet Earth. Aspavo, dear ones. I am Merlia. Come up and see me sometime. Quick thank you to everybody involved here. We have so many people involved with this. It's absolutely magical, but I do want to acknowledge a few people. Meg Adamson was not able to be here today, but there's her website. Does incredible sessions with people. She's a hypnotherapist and a light worker extraordinaire. There's her website. We also had Juliana Raymond. Juliana's done some awesome stuff. Of course, she's presenting. She's a fairly new presenter, and she's done some absolutely magical work that she's shared with all of us here, and a member of the family to be sure. And her website is right there, julianaraymond.com. Also, Sandra Sedgebear. Go to sedgebear.com, and you can find the book club that she's talking about, and many of the free things and the reviews that she does with all of the work. Well done, Sandy. Also, Allison Chester Lambert, of course, she's our astrologer. Allison is just a joy to watch. You can see the passion in her eyes. You can see the fun that she has. She also does private sessions, absolutely. She's actually a pretty well-known astrologer and has worked on BBC quite a bit. So she's available, again, at AllisonChesterLambert.com. All right, we've got Ellen Era, who does all of our graphics, our logos, a lot of the videos that you see, some of the work that she does. She makes us look good. Thank you. And Nick Pneumatikos is our webmaster. He's the guy that we rely on all the time to fix our ills usually to fix things that I screw up is what it does. Anyway, thanks, Nick. Did an absolutely magical job. Kathy Moran is the one who handles all the support. When you fill out a help desk ticket, she's the one that answers it. Does an incredible job, and a light worker in her own right. She's writing her own book, which I will be doing a foreword for very soon. We'll hopefully see her book up here too. Thank you so much for all of that. Gail Harris is one of our producers, kind of looks over our shoulder and comments and helps us correct some of the wording with things and other things of that nature. Thank you so much, Gail. And that's going to do it for today. Thank you all for being here. It is absolutely gorgeous outside, so I'm heading back out. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and know that you are loved. Aspavo.